shit.
Now we have a pizza line behind it, the red line.
Oh, that's what I was telling you. What the fuck is that? I'm gonna step back.
Have you ever felt as if you one day woke up to a different reality? One that's pretty similar to yours, but there's something about it that's different.
Aquilo, olha isso! O que formou? Você tá vendo ali? Olha a força!
Some things defy all explanation. And when they do, there are always people out there that jump straight to one possible explanation. We are all living in the Matrix. Yes, it's certainly a crazy theory, but for some people, it's the most logical reason behind the world's biggest mysteries. And luckily for us, many people have caught their very own glitches on camera. Are you ready for some video evidence that will have you questioning your own reality? Strap in and get ready to investigate the possibility that we are all living in one giant simulation.
We all live in a simulation. This is just a video game that we all live in. The Matrix was not a movie with Keanu Reeves. It was actually a documentary. So Dan Wheeler, he takes dimethyltryptamine, DMT, smokes it, and it takes you into another realm, you know, kind of pull back the veil and go into a geometric pattern universe with other beings and entities, giving them profound information. Dan decided to take a 690 nanometer laser and shine the laser at the wall. And he widens the beam so that it's about 1 inch to 2 inches thick. So you're taking this laser beam and you're shooting it onto the wall. And if you look into the laser beam, he started seeing code. Ones, zeros, these very strange, and he draws the symbols out and shows you. Some of them look like Hebrew, some Stargate symbols.
For the past few years, loads of people have been feeling like this, and Callie Rittenhouse is one of them. On April 21st, Callie was with her daughter somewhere close to Oak Ridge in Tennessee. It was a beautiful and sunny day and they were enjoying their time, and all of a sudden something pretty weird happens. While recording her daughter running around at the park, she captures something pretty bizarre. A strange sound followed by a distortion can be clearly seen in her video. And at first I thought it was her phone glitching or possibly her camera lens. But after replaying the video a couple of times, it becomes quite clear that whatever happened there, her daughter seems to acknowledge it. After posting the video to social media, it amasses millions of views, and most people seem to agree that this is some sort of electromagnetic frequency or interference that was caught on camera. Some think that maybe she's too close to an electric fence of some sort, and maybe the current of the electric fence is disturbing her camera. However, many others agree that whatever this thing was, it seems as if her daughter felt it. There were also other people who noticed what appears to be a translucent orb flying by at the same time. Now, if this is not an out-of-focus insect, I don't know what that is. The next day, Callie does what anyone would do, and she goes back to that park just to test the electric fence. And this is what happens.
Yeah.
She finds out that the fence isn't electric, and that's not it. So what's going on here? Could it be that she actually captured a glitch in the Matrix and that her daughter actually saw, heard, or felt it? But when it comes to unexplained glitches in parks, it doesn't stop there.
Have you seen the DMT experiment with the laser?
I have seen it on Instagram and I heard you and Danny talking about it. So you've done it.
Yeah, I saw it on Instagram and flew Danny to my house right away.
Like, break this down for people because it got shared amongst my group And it's like, what the fuck?
Exactly. And that's the only question you're still going to have after you see it.
It doesn't answer any questions. It just invites a lot
Nothing.
more.
Yeah, nothing else. There's code. Absolutely, there is code.
So the code's not like spinning there. It's like, it's literally like kind of written out static.
It's static. I can move the laser up and down and see all of the letters, but it's like 3-dimensional. So I can get close to the wall. I can look down inside of the laser that way, and I can look up in the laser that way.
What's your best guess at explaining that?
I would be a fool.
Okay. We can just leave it at that.
Maybe it's a universal consciousness that we're projecting something onto it.
One of the most important things to pay attention to is that you're looking through the laser, not at the diffraction pattern that falls on the wall. So even if you're sitting 2 or 3 feet away, like we're seeing here, you want to be looking at beyond the light, like you're looking through the window versus looking at the surface of the window. Also notice how wide the diffracted pattern of the laser is on the wall. People that choose lasers that produce this thing that just looks like one line, that's not wide enough for you to see anything because you're looking beyond the laser, not at the surface. So it will be too thin, too narrow of a crack to look through, so to speak. You can come closer like this, and I would recommend to cover one eye so the light doesn't hit your cornea. And then you would be looking from the side. From the side is better because you get a separation of the layers inside. You want to stay on this task for a little bit until you start seeing structures emerge. So keep looking until you see actual digits running, numerals, and what seems like Japanese katakana characters. If you're using a glass of water like here, what you can do, you can either look into the glass of water, into the little reflections that you can see inside the glass. And then what you want to do is to mimic the gesture that we do when we go a little bit cross-eyed, which you will notice is the same gesture that your eyes are doing when you're trying to look beyond something. It's also very similar to what we have to do when we're trying to look at a magic eye image. To anybody who's not familiar, the magic eye is a visual illusion that we put on a 2-dimensional paper, and when you do a certain thing with your attention, you can all of a sudden see a 3-dimensional image in there. But it's embedded in there. It's designed to do that. And the gesture you do with your eyes, if you're familiar with magic eye, is very similar to what we're trying to do here. So either we're looking at the glass directly and we're trying to expand those little reflective patterns. You will see some glistening portions inside the glass, and what you want to do is to expand them by doing the magic eye gestures with your eyes. And you will see the code running inside very coherently. Another option is to look at the light that hits the wall after it's being additionally refracted through the glass of water. So now we have a diffraction and a refraction pattern all together. You want to be looking at the area after it passed the water, which is different than the light that hits the wall directly. Something about the refractive index of water that makes what we see in the laser even more coherent. It's not clear what yet, we're working on that, but that's the case, and it can help people who are having a hard time seeing it.
Look at this. There's... What the hell? Just randomly in the middle of the forest, in the middle of nowhere, this... I don't even know.
While driving through a forest somewhere in Oregon in the United States, Stephanie and her husband Adam come across something really bizarre.
My husband is on it. It's crazy. Like, where did this come from? Let me show you around surrounding areas. Hold on. Okay, so we can't figure out where this came from. How crazy. So here is the tree. Yes, there's debris right here because whatever made this forcefully go into the ground, there's going to be debris. So that's debunked. And I'm going to look up because everyone kept saying, look up. Well, the sky's up. There are no trees that are broken. I'm doing a 360, everybody. Turning, turning, turning.
It appears as if a massive tree trunk was ripped out of somewhere and forcefully stuck into the ground. The question is, how or what did this?
All over, yes, there is. It still doesn't explain that this is in the center of the thing. That looks like it could have been part of it that fell, but I don't see where it came from. But, you know, people say lightning, maybe. I'm not saying anybody's wrong. Bigfoot, maybe.
While some think that this is a treetop that broke off and fell perfectly into the ground, others believe it could be a keep out sign made by Bigfoot. Taking a good look around, the biggest clue are the debris. There's too many of them, which would mean that this thing possibly fell from high up in the sky. But how?
I don't want somebody's lame ass reasoning for this because there honestly isn't one.
Well, there's no trees broken.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Look up the hill. Not even there.
Yeah. There's nothing. That's crazy.
Maybe a tornado nearby, lightning, or a chopper that was carrying the log and accidentally dropped it off. But none of these options would explain how this thing fell and fit perfectly into the middle of the road. What's your take? What do you really think happened here, and have you ever seen anything like this? I mean, is this a glitch in the Matrix, Bigfoot, or something else entirely?
Nick Bostrom, who is a philosopher at Oxford, he wrote a paper all the way back in 2003 called "Are You Living in a Simulation?"
Yeah, what were the? There was like 4 basic principles of this, right?
Yeah, there were 3 possibilities. He
Okay,
said.
3.
He said if you take a technological civilization. Now he was concerned primarily with AI, and how much information would it take to simulate the brain, and how much information would it take to basically simulate the history of a person and all the processing power of a brain. And he said, well, it's not that much in the scheme of things. So therefore, it's possible a technological civilization could get to the point where he called it post-human, which is very similar to what I'm calling the simulation point without so much the virtual reality part. But he said, if it could get to that point, there's 3, well, first of all, there's 3 possibilities. Which we kind of call Bostrom's trilemma now.
Yeah.
The first possibility is it's not possible or nobody gets there. Anywhere. No civilization ever gets there. So then the chances we're in a simulation are 0 because it's either not possible or every civilization blows themselves up before they get to that point.
Right.
The second possibility, which I think is unlikely, is he says they get to that point, but they don't create any simulations.
Because of moral reasons or something
Yeah,
like
moral
this?
reasons, or they have some laws, maybe they don't want to cause suffering, or there's just other reasons why, and they're banned. So it's a possibility, but personally, if that were true, then the chances we're in a simulation are low, according to Bostrom's simulation argument is what it's called, because there's not going to be many simulations. And then he said the third possibility is we are most likely in a simulation. Okay, now how do you get to that from that? Because the third possibility is that civilization creates a bunch of simulated beings, and then it runs another server and it creates a whole another trillion simulated beings, and then it runs another server and it creates a whole another trillion. So he came up with a statistical argument. He said if there are this many simulated beings, and there's only this many, smaller number, of biological beings that are in base reality, and actually probably simpler to use Elon Musk's version. So what Elon Musk said in 2016 was, assume there's 1 billion simulated worlds and there's only one physical world. So what are the odds that you're in the physical world?
1 in a billion.
1 in a billion, right? That's exactly what he said. He said the chances that we're in base reality is 1 in billions in that scenario.
Oh, that's so crazy to think about.
Yeah. Now, remember, that was only one of 3 possibilities.
Yeah.
So, Bostrom himself didn't know where to put the probabilities for each of these 3 possibilities. But if we can get there to that point where we can create these AI simulated worlds, then you suddenly find yourself in either possibility 2 or possibility 3. Right. And that's
one of the big questions. One of the things that I can't wrap my mind around that I always think about is like the way it was eloquently stated in that 13th Floor movie, where he's like, what happens when one of these guys crawls up the extension cord and finds a way to kill its god?
Right. So this is an interesting question too, because can you escape the simulation?
Right.
And that's kind of what it's asking. And in fact, it's something that there have been rumors that a couple of billionaires have funded research to try to figure out, is there a way to hack the simulation? There's a few guys out there that have written papers on, can we hack the simulation in some way?
I had this dude, Danny Goler, on here. I think he's the one who, you know Danny.
Yeah, I know
Danny connected us.
That's right.
Of course, duh.
Yeah.
So he's doing the experiment with the laser and the DMT code.
Right. He told me about that.
Fascinating stuff.
And, originally he was saying it kind of looks like katakana, but
It looks like Sanskrit to me.
Oh, Sanskrit.
It looks like, if you look at.
Have you tried it then?
Pull up. Yeah, I've done it twice. Pull up the Lord of the Rings, the ring from Lord of the Rings, and you can see the text on the ring.
Right.
That's what it looks closest to me. So the first time I did it, I didn't see it. I didn't see the code.
You didn't see the code.
I saw just like crazy patterns rotating in the laser,
Right.
and I could see like a pocket of space. So that's what the code looked like to me. Similar to that.
That's really interesting. And,
Yeah.
and I've heard, from him, and I've heard from others. I know they're trying to work on, are there ways to see this without taking DMT, for example?
Right. Yeah. And the second time I did it, when I saw it, it was crazy because I saw it through the laser, but it was like I tried going back into it. So I did the DMT 3 or 4 times, and like the 4th time I did it, all I saw was dicks covered in this code everywhere surrounding me. And I was like, I think something is telling me that I'm pushing my limits here. They're telling me to fuck off.
That's great.
Yeah, it was hilarious. Danny filmed the whole thing.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's an interesting question. I mean, many people have told me that the first time they took DMT, or sometime they took it, maybe not the first time, but they started to see the grid lines of the simulation. And I know Danny himself talks about these characters. Is it the insectoid characters? I forget which ones they are, but these beings that he said are like, they're more like admins or managers. They're like bureaucratic people who are just kind of supporting the simulation or whatever you would call that world, right?
Like if you're jumping, like either you're jumping over to another simulation, or you're breaking down there's this brain filter hypothesis I'm sure you're aware of, where it's like all of our senses are basically like vision and smell and touch and taste. That's all just filters. It's filtering out all the stuff that's potentially all around us right now, right? So that we can basically survive and get through the day, eat, sleep, reproduce, drive to work. And if there are, and this is like, I don't know if you've ever heard of Joe Rogan's fart hypothesis.
No, I haven't heard of that.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
The fart hypothesis.
The fart hypothesis is great. It's one of my favorites. It's basically like if somebody farts around you and you don't have the sense of smell or a nose, you're just going to be sitting there in their fart and you have no clue. Right. So obviously we've evolved to gain the sense of smell in our noses to detect enemies or prey, or, if there's a gas leak or something like this, it's a very relevant sense to us so we can survive. But if we didn't have a nose, we would have no clue that there's these smells and there's these fart odors that are like surrounding us or whatever. So how many senses, or how many things that are similar to that are all around us all the time that we just haven't evolved the sensory organs to detect?
Yeah.
So that's like that, kind of like that brain filter hypothesis, that the DMT is breaking down these filters in your brain, and somehow you're able to see more of what this really is.
Right. And I think there's validity to that because I've heard it from now enough people. And I get into the same discussions about this that I might about things like near-death experiences or people who do yogic techniques or shamanic journeying. Like, are they seeing something real? Are they seeing just an interpretation of what's real? And for me, the interesting thing about the simulation hypothesis is it's really a collection of 2 or 3 different assertions. And the first of those assertions is that the physical universe is based on information. It's not really physical. And going back to John Wheeler, he had a phrase called "it from bit."
Yep.
And he basically said that when you get right down to it, if everything is 99% empty space, you go down to the atom, it's this weird electron cloud, and you keep going down. At the bottom level, what is a particle? If the world consists of particles, what is a particle?
Exactly.
And nobody really knows exactly what it is. And he said it comes down to a series of properties that define that particle. It's a series of yes-no questions. And those are bits. A bit is a 1 or a 0, or a yes-no question. And so he said anything that's physical actually consists of bits of information, down at the bottom level. Now, the second assertion is that information gets rendered for us as a kind of reality that we perceive through our senses somehow. And the first part is not really controversial, even with physicists. Like I met a a Nobel Prize winning physicist at the University of Cambridge. And, you know, we were talking about this and he goes, oh yeah, that's not controversial anymore. The universe basically consists of information. Most physicists.
Oh, really?
That's what he said to me. He
Wow.
goes, it used to be controversial. If you go back like 30, 40 years in the 70s, they'll be like, no, it's not information. It's energy. It's this, it's that. They'll say, you know, that's a valid view of the universe. But, you know, whether it's rendered as a video game or not, or how that happens, that's a big mystery. Nobody knows why it goes from that to what we're actually perceiving. And you get into, you know, neuropsychology, but also I think the video game metaphor works pretty well. And then the last part of that is that the whole thing is a kind of hoax, you know, that this whole thing isn't real, that it's set up for us in some way and we're limited to perceiving what's outside of it. And that's where these experiences, whether it's DMT, whether it's certain yogic techniques, mystical techniques that allow you to perceive other beings that are here with us.
Right.
And in all the world's, you know, mystical traditions and religious traditions, there's all kinds of stories about other beings that are here with us.
Right.
Like the jinn, for example, in the Middle East. You know, that's a very common thing where they say that there are jinn here. We can't see them all the time, but they can make themselves visible to us at different times.
Yeah.